Do I observe people and put it into words? Well, I observe the world, you know. Even when you think you are not observing people or picking up cues from people, you are, you know. You're in a situation where you're talking to somebody. If you have any form of self-awareness, you know, if you have some amount of emotional intelligence, then you are reading their body language. You're paying attention to what they're saying. You're not interrupting them. You're listening to them. You're getting to know them. And I believe that every single experience you have goes into every single thing you do. So maybe not intentionally, but definitely I observe people and it ends up in what I do, what I write. Yes, absolutely. Writing is the most powerful tool of change. Let's take an example of a very well-known work of fiction, the Bible. The Bible has changed, and every other religious book has changed the face of the earth. Has affected, it was an instrument of subjugation for a lot of people who were subject to the crime against humanity, that is slavery, which was then repackaged, rebranded, and continued as an equal crime against humanity of colonial rule, based on written words. What about today? What about right now? How has writing changed the world? Well, when Russia interfered with the American election, it was through Facebook, it was through Twitter feeds, it was through fake accounts where they sent out fake news articles. Fake news is real. And it's real because Russia did it. We now know about 13 Russian agents have been indicted for meddling with the American elections. So basically, we now have a racist, sexist bully in the White House, right, with access to the nuclear code because of writing. So can writing change the world? Absolutely. And we should use that power. It's a great power that we have as writers. I don't believe in writing as a matter of a mission, but if you're particular about something, if something is important to you, it'll come out in your writing. In fact, it doesn't even need to be an entire book. Me too. A simple hashtag. No more. Simple hashtag. Changing the world. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Guy and Amaka, you watch movies or you read books, and it's always the man who's the hero, you know, who's saving the day, and he always has this girl who's, you know, doomed, who's fatal, who just loves him and everything, running after him and doing what he wants, you know, being his sidekick. And that is not a true reflection of reality. You know, that is a lie told by men. That's patriarchy. In fact, I believe that the greatest threat to humanity right now is not Donald Trump, is not nuclear threat, the threat of nuclear war, it's not the ozone layer, it's not pollution, it's not the plastic in the oceans. As evil and terrible as these things are, I believe, I know that the biggest threat to humanity right now is patriarchy. And you can bring it down to maths, to just arithmetic. If throughout most of history, only half of humanity has been allowed to fully participate in all of humanity, I am talking about government, about commerce, about the fact that women continue to be paid extremely less than men for the same thing. If over all this time, men have ruled, you know, and they've formed the governments, they've made the decisions to go to war, they've gone to war. And the world right now is messed up. Doesn't that tell us that it's because the men have been doing a bad job? Absolutely. when I was writing this, I listened to that particular song often. I had a CD, I made a CD which had particular songs I like, and I played that in the background most of the time. And I listened to that song, Easy Motion Tourist, by Fatai Rolling Dollar and the Harbours Band a lot when I wrote it. So in a lot of ways, the tempo, the rhythm of the book is basically the rhythm of that song. Also, the new one, the sequel to this, is also titled after a song by Fela Anikulapo Kuti. So the title of the new book in English is When Trouble Sleeps, which is a song by Fela Anikulapo Kuti. And I listened to that as I wrote the second book quite a lot. I respect and I envy those writers who can write in absolute silence, you know, and they describe their writing process as they have a writing desk and it's totally quiet, and they can think, and the words come to them almost as if it's being whispered by God. I write in a cafe, you know, I love the noise, I love people around me. In fact, very often I'll go to a salsa bar where my friends play live salsa music, and I'll be writing while they're singing, and every time they take a break, they'll come and sit with me, all through the time I wrote the book. So yeah, music is important to me. I love music, and you should see me dancing as well, you know, and you know, so yeah, music is important to me. So yes, it's a crime thriller in Nigeria, as it is everywhere else. It's been published. India, America, South Africa, Argentina. It's a crime thriller. It's what it is. Do I identify with other writers, you know, of crime thriller? Yeah, I do. I identify with all writers really, and you know, we have a fixation in as human beings to define and to put things and people into categories. You know, this is detective fiction, this is mystery fiction, this is literary fiction, this is literary thriller. When I growing up, I didn't read books based on the genre. I just read books, you know, and I enjoyed in equal measures detective books, romance novels, literary fiction, James Baldwin, Maya Angelou's writings. It wasn't necessarily, you know, I have a love for thrillers or whatever. Chinua Achebe, who I think is the greatest writer in the entire universe, I read all of his books and I didn't think of them as literary fiction. I just thought of them as damn good books. And personally, I would love a day when we no longer have to define books, you know, as belonging to one genre or the other. To also answer your question, is this the only thing I write? No, not really, you know, because even though this is the first book of mine that has been published traditionally, before this was published, I anonymously wrote another story, another book online, right? And I just put it onto a satire website, and that story at the height of it was getting up to 100,000 page views. And unbeknownst to me, for the past 3 years, this book, this story that I have online has been on the curriculum at the University of Birmingham.